All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have a bonus problem for you to do today. Once you finish all of that must-do work, I want you to go ahead and start looking at this problem. My recommendation is that you listen to me read this and then pause the video so you can complete this on paper. Then continue the video and watch me work through the problem and see if you did any of the same steps, see if you made any mistakes, and then you can move along. So take a look what we have here. Mr. Hughes has 155 meters of volleyball netting. How many nets can he make if each court requires 9 meters of netting? So keep in mind, we're working on one-step word problems. I want you to make sure that you are making a tape diagram that is showing whether we know the size of the group or the number of groups. Then solve, and don't forget to write your answer as a statement. So at this point, you might want to pause the video, take a look at this problem, work through it, and then hit play again to see the answer. All right, let's take a look at Mr. Hughes. He's got some volleyball nets to set up. He has 155 meters. So I know that's the total. We are looking at 155 Excelente. Muy bien. How many nets can he make if each court requires 9 meters of netting? So I'm thinking, well, each court is going to have 9 meters. I just have no idea how many courts he's going to end up with. I don't know what kind of volleyball superstore he's working at. So I know that each one is going to have 9 meters in it. I just have no idea how many courts there's going to be. So at this point, it's safe for me to say I am well aware of the size of the group. What I don't know is the number of groups. That's where my division is going to come into play to help me figure out the answer. So I'm going to go ahead and use partial quotients to begin and figuring out how I can split this 155 meters of net. So I'm thinking fast facts. What are some of the quickest ways I can start cutting this 155 meters into chunks for these nets? So I think, okay, 9 times what is going to get me close to 155? What's a fast fact I can think of? Well, 9 times 10 is 90. Let's start there. Why not? Did you think of a different fact? Are you going to go somewhere else with this? Keep going with that. Don't just do 10 because I did. See if you can use other facts that are maybe easier for you, or maybe you think you can get closer to 155. Try it out. 9 times 10 is 90 meters that I can account for in group. That leaves me with 65 meters of netting. So now I'm thinking, all right, and that's 65. I got to start cutting it into 9-meter chunks to see how many nets I can end up creating. And I think to myself, 65. Oh, my 9s are tricky. I'm always stuck on 9 9s. Well, let me think. 9 times 9 is 81. That's a fast one that I know. I'm going to start with what I know and work down because 81 is way more than 65. So 9 times 9 is 81. If I take 9 away from that, that gets me to 72. 9 times 8 would be 72 then. Still too high. I'm going to take 9 away from that again. Beep, boop, 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 beep, beep, boop, 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 boop. Oh, 9 times 7 gets me 63. So I'm going to cut 63 more meters, make some 7 more nets. And that leaves me with 2 meters left. That's left over. Maybe you can sew it into the other pieces and fix the broken net at some point. I don't know. So now I add together, I made 10 nets plus 7 more. That gets me 17 nets with 2 meters of that netting remaining. I'm gonna go ahead and check this work and make sure that I am on track. 17 times 9. And I wanna get to 155, keeping in mind I need to add on my remainder at the end. So 7 times 9, I just did that. It is 63. 3 1s, I carry my 6 10s over. 9 times 110 is 9 10s, plus 6 more gets me 15 10s. I add on my remainder and I get 155. The answer is correct. He can make 17 nets. Here's the tricky part. Sometimes we have remainders and the answer changes when we think of the question. So think about if we had a class of 155 students and each group had 9 students in it, right? Thinking about the context of the problem to make sure your answer is right is very important. Because if I was thinking of students and number of students in a group, 17 chaperones would mean that 2 students are just without a chaperone on a field trip, causing chaos on the field trip, right? But in this case, I cannot make a little 2-meter volleyball net. I'm not making volleyball nets for ants. So in this case, I'm gonna stick with my 17. Now, you can go ahead and solve with the standard algorithm. Just make sure that your answer is on the same track. I'm not gonna show it for this because we're really focusing on being exposed to partial quotients this week. Just keep in mind, whichever method works for you also works for me.